Hi, my name's Todd. I am the pastor at Peace Lutheran Church. It's one of the association churches for Zion Lutheran School, and I'm excited to be able to share a little bit about what we teach your kids. Of course, what I teach in the classroom is mostly how we have a God who truly loves your kids and really wants to encourage them to know Him and walk with Him and know the love that He has for them each and every day. Uh, but we come to that point from a place of believing that there actually is a God. And so I want to start from the very beginning and go back to talk about why we even believe there's a God. And the way we talk about that is we talk about a mystery. There's things in this world that we all don't understand. I don't understand everything. No one understands everything. In fact, from the time the world was created, we've been wondering, where did the world come from? This is a comic, and I don't know how well you can see this. If you're looking on a phone, it's probably pretty small. But on the one side, there's a caveman, and he looks up at the stars, and he says, where did it all come from? How did we get here? What does it all mean? And on the other side, there's a cosmologist. He's an astrophysicist, and he's looking through this huge telescope into the sky and asking the same question. Where did it all come from? So no matter where we've come, no matter where we are in history, we've always asked these big questions about who we are and where we come from and what does it all mean. And really, there's only two possibilities. The one possibility is that things have always existed. The ancient philosopher Plato thought that. He thought that the world was eternal, that the universe was eternal. And there are some physicists now that think that there are some theories that they use that make them think that the universe is eternal, that it continues on forever and ever, and time breaks down so it doesn't actually have a beginning. But other physicists and most of us believe that at one point there wasn't the things that are, and it came into being. Either way, it's a mystery. It's something that we have a hard time getting our minds around. And neither view actually is incompatible with the idea of God. There were people that believed in God and an eternal universe. There are those of us that believe that there is an eternal God that brought the universe into being. But either way, God is a possibility. See, the trouble that I have with that eternal universe idea is this idea of eternal regression, or something that goes back forever and ever. It's like the turtle standing on the top of that stack of other turtles. And you ask, what are the turtles standing on? And the answer is, it's turtles all the way down. Well, there has to be something the bottom turtles are standing on in order for the turtle to be able to stand at the top. Another way of viewing this or thinking about this is the idea of if you had a long line of people, and in order for you to raise your hand, the person behind you had to raise his hand, and the person behind him had to raise his hand, and the person behind him. Well, there must be some place in the line, some place back in history where somebody raises their hand that gets the progression started. And that's where Aristotle said that there must be a first cause, a prime mover that starts this process, the sequence of events in the universe. And we believe there's a God that's outside of time that started that process, that allows us to actually exist. But not everybody believes that. There are some that believe that the universe just is. Bertrand Russell, if you can see the quote there, he says, the universe is just there. That's all. He was a famous atheist, and he said that's just the way it is. It's a brute fact. It's something that just is. Now, we believe that there is a brute fact behind the universe, and that brute fact behind the universe is God. But some people believe that it just goes back to a brute fact. But it doesn't matter if you're a Christian or a non-Christian, if you're a theist or a non-theist. When I use that term theist, I mean somebody that believes in God. If you're somebody that believes in God, then there's a mystery behind the universe, and that mystery is God. If you're not, then you've got to come back and have another mystery, a mystery that we exist rather than don't exist, or the mystery of an eternal universe, or the mystery of a universe kind of springing from nothing. Now, scientists have shown that sometimes particles can, on a quantum level, a very small level, they can pop into existence. But the only way that happens is with the present laws of physics and with the right circumstances. And so if you cook the data, you can make a particle seemingly pop into existence. But even if it were true that things could pop into existence, it's because we've got a universe that's ordered where those kinds of things can happen. And so we as theists, we believe that there's a God, a mystery, something beyond the universe that we can't get a handle on, that started the whole process. Others don't believe that. But if there is a God, then what? What are the implications of that? If we believe that there is something beyond the universe, a mystery that we can't get our handle on, what are the implications of that? Well, probably the first question to ask is, can we know God? Can we know this God? And a lot of people have said, yeah, well, if I go out in the mountains and I look and I see the grandeur of the mountains, then I can say, oh yeah, there's something bigger than me. And that's what we would call a natural understanding of God. People get an idea that there's God. As we look at creation, we can imagine just like a house was built. Somebody had to build the house. We look at creation and we will say somebody must have brought this into existence. But inferring that somebody brought it into existence doesn't tell us anything much about the God other than he's great and powerful. It doesn't tell us what he thinks about us or how he feels about us. Well, another way that people come to understand that there is a God is because of our conscience, that we know that there's right and wrong. Cultures disagree about what is right and wrong. Some cultures think that you can do some things differently than in other cultures. But every culture knows that there's some things that are right and some things that are wrong. And we would say that God wrote his law in our hearts, that there's a natural knowledge that somewhere deep inside of us we know that there's a God that has given us morality, something that's right and something that's wrong. But even that still is kind of a natural knowledge, and you can't get a real good sense of who God is or how he feels about you. And that's what we as Christians believe. You need something more. You need something to be revealed or shown to you. In the bottom picture there, it shows a Bible with a light on it. In some way, we have to get this God, this mystery behind the universe that we can have an inkling is out there to let us know who he is. Well, as Christians, we believe that revelation, that God showing himself, happened in the person of Jesus Christ. That Jesus is somehow God in human flesh. That Jesus that came into this world and lived this incredible life to show us what God was like. That Jesus that died, taking the evil of the world upon himself. That Jesus that overcame death by rising again to give us hope that we can live with God forever. That Jesus reveals to us what the character of the mystery behind the universe is. And that Jesus is why we believe in Christianity at all. The book of Colossians out of the Bible says it this way. It says, he is the image of the invisible God, the firstborn over all creation. For God was pleased to have all his fullness dwell in him, and through him to reconcile everything to himself, whether things on earth or things in heaven, by making peace through his blood shed on the cross. See, we believe that Jesus is God in human flesh that came to show us who God is and how we can have a relationship with him and how we can be connected to him. Now that Jesus, because we believe in Jesus, that leads us to believe in something else. Because there's this book that God has given us called the Bible. And it's the story that points to Jesus. We believe the Bible is a unified story that points to God showing himself in Jesus. And because of Jesus, And because of who he is and how Jesus believed in the Word of God as shown in the Bible, we also believe that. We believe that in this book God inspired or breathed his life into these words that then allows us to have a place where we can learn more about the God who revealed himself in Jesus. And because of that, we study the Bible. And because of that, we share the Bible with your kids and with the students at Zion Lutheran School. We believe that this book is the book that God wanted us to have. Now, it's a difficult book. There are stories in there that are wonderful that you've probably heard. The stories of Noah's Ark and some of the famous stories like that. But as you look at the stories more closely, they're not really written for kids. They're written for people to help form us as God's people. And we spend a lifetime interacting with the stories that point to that incredible story of Jesus coming into our world, and it forms us as God's people. And that's why we start to teach the stories to your kids. We teach them on a real basic level. But it's because we believe that God has revealed himself in Jesus, and the Bible is the book that points us towards Jesus, that we tell those stories. Now that's just a little start as we talk about what we believe and why we believe it. I hope that if you have any questions, you can ask me or one of the other association pastors. You can respond to the video, and hopefully we can respond back to you. But I'd love for you to be able to just get in touch with us, get a hold of us, and talk to us and let us know what you'd like to know. Thank you so much for spending the time listening to this video. See you.